Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody.
Nice coverage. But good morning, afternoon, and evening to you too, Casey.
Thanks.
What about night? What about those in the middle of the night?
Don't think we have anyone here who's in the middle of the night yet.
Probably getting close though.
I'll give you a delayed good night so that you can hold on to that for later. You're not in the office yet, are you, Matt?
No.
No, okay. Good.
Nope.
I was going to feel like a slacker if you were already there, and I wasn't.
I've given up on ever making it in before those morning meetings. It's just not going to happen.
The one exception being Waffle Wednesday, of course.
Of course. I guess I don't know if anyone else is going to join us. Let's see. Well, I guess we can.
I know a few people are out, so might just be us.
All right.
Okay, we're the best.
Well, so let's get started. Can someone help me with notes, and I'll take over when you guys are speaking?
Yeah, I can do that. I can copy all that into place.
Cool.
I got you.
Cool. So I guess we'll start with kind of the status for a lot of our releases. So I guess on the OS side, we're looking at 324.6 to release pretty soon. There's a few library updates and things we need to validate. So this should be out pretty soon. But it's still being worked on. So probably this week or next week is the timeline we're looking at right now. For v326.0, we've ran into some issues during some of our testing with some of the testing infrastructure. And so in order to kind of keep validating everything to kind of the standards we would like to keep, we've held this back. So I know last time we mentioned that it should be out soon. We're going to have to say that again, but it's looking like right now we're hoping to get this out in a couple weeks. So we'll hold on to that for now, but there have been a few things that have kind of snuck in, and so we've kind of added a few more bug fixes and things to 326 in the meantime. So if there are other things that people find that they think are important and need to go into kind of this release, please tag us and let us know so we can get the proper review and everything for everything so it can make it in. And I think that's it in terms of the releases. Eric, anything on the operator helm side?
So operator, nothing too much. There have been a few PRs lately from the community, which has been nice. I actually can't remember off the top of my head if it's been merged yet, but one around migration of affinity on Taifa, I think it was. Um, it was something that has been added that you could set in the operator in the config, but the migration from a manifest-based install hadn't been that migration code hadn't been added, so someone added that, and then there's also a path etc Calico that we have is currently hard coded, and someone put up a PR to make that configurable. So yeah, I've been trying to push that along and been having some discussions internally about the naming of that, just because it's, once we have it, it's gonna probably be there forever. So yeah, it's been nice getting some community PRs to make a few things better. But yeah, nothing else is standing out to me right now. I don't know, Casey or Matt, you might know of things that I've forgotten.
We've got the VPP PR, which we've been talking about a little bit. Eddie, I know I owe you a response on that one. I think we're nearing a conclusion on that. I just need to get a couple final bits of input, but the direction we're leaning right now is that, and we want to run this by you, but we think it's probably best to hold off on integrating that bit into the operator right now. The main thing here is the sort of release complexity, where previously we had said we want to keep the VPP release cycle sort of separate from Calico, so that you guys are free to release as needed independently of us, and you don't have a sort of dependency on us to get your code released. And adding this to the operator would tighten that dependency sort of in both directions. So we'd need to figure out how to coordinate that, which might be difficult. Anyway, like I said, we're still talking about this a little bit. And we've got some options as well if we decide not to go this route. I can't hear you if you're saying anything. I think we lost him.
It's the common Zoom issues. I imagine he'll be back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, about this point. So this was actually mentioned by Lance in the context of OpenShift support. So my question is that a blocking point for OpenShift, or was it just like an enhancement proposal from?
So I think that there are ways to get this working on OpenShift without this. The way that OpenShift works, to my knowledge, and it's been a little bit of time since I've looked at this, but when you start the cluster, there's a directory you can put all of your custom manifests in that you would like the OpenShift installer to deploy for you. And that just takes any Kubernetes manifests. It does it in, lexicographic order. So you can sort of order a series of objects to install into the cluster. And so I think the simplest approach here is going to be to come up with a set of those manifests for the VPP daemon set that we can just put in that directory, run the OpenShift installer, and it should handle that correctly. There are a few So the reason that there was this like sort of relationship between OpenShift and an operator is that OpenShift puts some requirements on its networking implementation as part of the install in order to make everything come up correctly. So there are certain APIs that Calico, when we first did this integration, needed to satisfy. We had to write back certain bits of status information, and we had to respect certain service IPs and stuff like that. So I think the question comes down to, is any of that impacted by VPP or not? So maybe that's something we can work through a little bit. I don't remember off the top of my head the full list of what those APIs are, but if we look at the operator code, you can see there's a couple branches in the main reconcile loop that if we're running on OpenShift, they will look at certain APIs to pull information, and they'll write status back to certain places just to satisfy what OpenShift needs itself to continue its boot process.
Okay.
So I will reach out to you on Slack maybe and send you some of those links to the bits of code I'm talking about, and then maybe we can chat about whether or not we think any of those need to be tied directly into the VPP data plane or not.
Right. Okay.
Awesome. Cool. I don't think we have anyone here representing the eBPF team, but I know that we've been working on a kind of a refactor for how all the programs are loaded. And I think that work is just about finished. So I guess hold off because that'll be pretty exciting, and that's exciting coming up. I guess any updates on the VPP side other than, I guess, our discussion on the adding it to the operator?
So we're on the way for 3.26, but still waiting for Calico release before that. And so mainly this should include shift support, plus some performance upgrade for CNAT and services, some progress in multi-net as well. So we actually support multi-uplink in the recent master version, and we are addressing currently some remaining CI issues, mainly the one related to auto-host endpoints. That is appearing on some of the CI scenarios. I think that's it. Not the release that we are targeting.
Awesome. Sorry, I think there was a bunch more there because I think there's you guys are getting ready for a release as well. Do you know when that is, I guess, targeted for?
So in general, it's after the Calico release, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks following the Calico release. So I think 3.26 is not released yet. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, sorry. You said that you don't think 3.26 is too late yet, or?
Is it released yet?
No, it's not. It'll be another, I guess, couple weeks, I think, is what we're estimating right now. So yeah, Are you guys blocked on, I guess, that release coming out?
Not that I'm blocked, but I mean, in general, we wait for that release.
Okay.
12 hours.
Okay. Cool. It should be. We'll keep you guys updated. It's going. So, okay. Cool. Thank you. I guess any other kind of updates? Anything else anyone else wants to share?
I just want to jump quickly back to that operator integration bit with VPP. I just did a quick skim through the main integration points there. So there are a few places that we tweak our default settings, like we configure the Felix health port to be different in certain host paths that we mount just because of the location and ports that are used in OpenShift by default. There's the main things that we do other than that is we pull the platform CIDRs for validation against the configured IP pools. So that's the first bullet point there. So that's the service CIDR and the pod IP range. And we also update the OpenShift network API with a few status fields that are required for OpenShift to continue. So the installer expects these status fields to be populated before it launches and progresses in its installation. And that's with pod and service CIDRs as well as the detected MTU. So I guess the first question for you, Eddie, is do any of those sound like things that would require or benefit or need VPP to be aware of?
I'm not sure about that.
And yeah, I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot necessarily. We can look at this and come together after you've had a chance to think about it as well. But I think those would be the main reasons to integrate it, is if, for example, you needed a bunch of custom configuration on OpenShift that you didn't want to manage in manifests, or if you needed information pulled from one of the APIs, or you needed to write information back to the OpenShift API.
Yeah, and if we haven't dropped these points, I guess, already in the VPP Slack, we should probably do that too. So the rest of the team will have access to that as well.
Yep, I will do that.
Awesome. Cool. I guess that's it in terms of kind of our updates, I think. I guess any hot issues, anything cool that, or things that we should track that people have seen?
Not cool, Matt. Hot. I am behind on my issue monitoring. I was out for a week and then I've been catching up on other stuff. So I don't have a ton for this one today.
I don't know if it's particularly hot issue, but I was looking at something else and I saw an issue in, I think, the project Calico repo that suggested that the operator reference docs weren't up to date, I think, in the latest. So I did put up a PR to make that easier to update, and so yeah, it's just so it should be making it easier to update, but also updating a couple of the versions that seemed like they were out of date.
You know a lot more about how that works now than I do. Is there a way that we can like do that continuously? Do we need to keep submitting PRs for it? Is there a way we can have our docs generate that sort of at build time?
Yeah, I guess they could. Yes. Yeah.
Not necessarily saying that's what we want, but it might help avoid this kind of issue.
Yeah, like one thing I did for not these reference docs, but for like there's a for the cloud side of the docs, there's an image list that we pull in, and I made it so there's CI that checks if any of those should be updated. So like if somebody submits a PR that changes the version that would make one of those make the list get updated, like there's CI that checks and makes sure, so at least the PR will fail and they should fix that. So I didn't do that for these docs because they're not as fast as that other update. So I've went and actually some of the older versions, because of the, you've probably seen it, Casey, where like when you build the reference, if they're, I don't quite understand, but like if the Tigera API reference that is in GoMod is something that I don't understand, it causes it to break. And like, so like older versions have that operator version that's failing on. So I couldn't, even if I wanted to, I couldn't make it where it just tries to run the update for all of them and check if there are any differences because those older ones fail right now. But yes, I considered adding CI to ensure those are up to date, but I didn't do it since there were those issues.
Maybe one of these days when in our luxurious free time, we can write a new tool for generating these docs that maybe doesn't have the same awkwardness or limitations that the one we're using does.
Yeah.
I think it's done great so far, but it was an off-the-shelf sort of thing that might not be entirely purpose-built for what we need.
Yeah. Yeah, or figure out how to make it not dependent on that all the imports that, or yeah, figure out how to make it where it doesn't crash because of that.
Yeah, I mean, we could give it its own Go mod probably, so it's not tied to the main repo one.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Warm issue. Yeah, sure.
Cool. One warm issue today.
Nice. Let's see. I guess moving on there then, any Calico heroes?
Sounds like we've got a couple in the operator repo submitting some nice fixes. If Eric can remember their names.
Let's see. One of them is UH Thomas, or I guess Thomas. Let's see. I was trying to find
Thomas could be a first or a last name.
Yeah. Maybe he's like Cher or Madonna.
Yeah, it's just Thomas.
I don't have the one. What was the other thing I said? Oh, the migration. I don't. Let's see. I can probably find that quickly.
The migration didn't go in that long ago, did it?
No, I don't think so. And that was merged, right?
Yeah. Is it Thomas Bureau? Thomas Bureau.
Is it a bunch of Thomases this time?
Well, it's spelled Tamas, so I'm probably destroying this, and because I don't know how to read that. And then Biro, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So I think that was him there.
Yeah.
And then I think we had something come in also from from SK Maddie to skip our node annotations. This one's not operator, but this one is skip node annotations if we're not running any networking for Calico. So if we're running in policy only mode, we basically don't annotate the nodes with IPs that we're not going to use. Yeah, I think that's all that I'm tracking. Anybody else? Anything else? Anyone else? Nope. Okay,
Good
cool.
for me.
Cool. All right. I think that's it then. We don't have any demos today. Yeah, thanks everybody. It's mostly just a I guess status check-in day, but we had a good conversation about the VPP stuff. So, and the operator. So yeah, we'll continue that offline, and thanks everybody for showing up, and we'll see you guys all again next time.
Toodles.
Later.